Hello and welcome to Age-Friendly Chelmsford, the show where we talk about some of the issues confronting seniors and other folks here in the community of Chelmsford. And we've got a great group of guests today. We have Debra Siriani. She's the director of the Chelmsford Senior Center. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
And Vicki Turcotte, the assistant director at the Chelmsford Library. Welcome. And Jen Melanson, our newest member, community services director. And Jen, congratulations on the spot and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Deb, in this show we're talking about some of the things that are confronting seniors and also this age-friendly initiative that's been put out that really is a structured way of handling all the issues that communities have found have affected seniors and you know, some barriers and some things that we've found. Tell us a little bit about it.
Thanks very much. So the Age-Friendly Initiative is a structure from the World Health Organization. And what they've done is created, if you see behind me, is a flower. So each petal of the flower represents a section of society or community that they feel is important to focus on in terms of community life. And so what's being done is there are checklists from the World Health Organization, and you can check and work on a list of items that we should really focus on in each community to make sure that someone can live from cradle to grave, we were talking about, right? Yeah. So from when you're born into a community and then your entire life through there, including end of life, but also everything in between. And so what we're doing is we've created a team, and it's Age-Friendly Chelmsford. And we've been meeting every month and going over those checklists and helping to focus our goals on what we need to improve on. And we've found that we really are doing a great job already,
yeah.
For one thing.
The town of Chelmsford is really...
We think.
Yeah. Yeah.
We think we're great. No, but we've found that we really have a lot of those check marks already off, but so many of them are about letting people know that we have these resources in town already.
Right.
So this show is actually one of the action plan items that we've created to make sure that people know more about what services are already available in Chelmsford and in the area for seniors, their families, their loved ones, and others. So that's why we're here. Yeah,
well, and I'll tell you, you've off to a great start. Everything I've heard so far is just positive, and there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy around it. And, you know, as we talk, Vicki, as we talk about getting the word out and the resources, certainly this show, you know, we're excited about it, and we think it's going to be a great resource for some of the folks in town. But the library also has a tremendous amount of resources that are almost well-kept secrets in some cases, you were saying.
That may be true. We do try to get the word out in as many places as we can, but we do have a lot of resources for seniors and of course, all ages. We recently did some surveys and some focus groups for working on our strategic plan for the library. And that gave us a head start on working on the Age-Friendly Initiative because we had already learned some of the things that people are looking for. One thing that comes up frequently is a town-wide calendar that has everything available on it. You know, the schools have a calendar, we have a calendar, you know, different agencies have their own calendars, but they'd love to see them all collected in one place. It's a big job, so we're investigating how that might be done, and it's part of our domain, which is communication and information.
Yeah, and a tremendous amount of seniors, and as I'm about to cross that threshold, I guess, if I haven't already, is the computer skills are really quite high for a lot of seniors, and then we find that some are just...
Right, that's very true,
yeah.
And a lot of people may or may not know that we have computers for public use. We have a lot of usual programs that people need to do on a daily basis. And we also offer one-on-one times. You can call in, make an appointment to speak with a librarian for half an hour to go over whatever you're working with. Maybe you got a new Kindle for Christmas and you can't figure out how to use it. So please, after the holidays, give us a call. Set up an appointment. We can help with that.
Yeah, maybe even before the holidays.
Maybe even before the holidays. Beat the Christmas rush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Jen, as we were talking earlier a little bit, a great new role here in Chelmsford, Community Services Director, really ties in so many of the different resources Chelmsford has. It now feels like it's all tied in through your office to an extent.
Yeah, I'm really working very collaboratively with all of the various entities in town. I've worked very closely with the library and with the senior center, with the police and fire departments and the schools, so.
Yeah. Yeah, as we talk about this, it's, the Veterans Administration, my dad's a veteran, and he turns to the VA for a lot of things that, there might be a hole somewhere that he needs to fill, either whether it be a prescription or, health or whatever. And the schools, they really help our children through this whole world. And, the senior center really is that place that, people turn to, and they, as they get older and they may not have the VA and they're done with school, their family has moved, and it's so important to have this type of thing in place.
Absolutely, we
Yeah.
think so. And what's been a great resource with this group here is that every single department in town has been part of these meetings. So we have evaluated, we've taken a look at the population of seniors. Of course, that's a big thing that people are talking about, but according to census materials and projections, it looks like seniors in Chelmsford will be 30% of the town by 2020. That's just next year.
Wow.
So 30% of the town is almost 1 in 3 people.
I gotta find a younger crowd.
So the thing is that, but that's exciting because, it's not just that we have seniors that are all in need, We
Right.
have people who are resources to the community as
Sure.
well. And so what we want to do is just harness those resources and make sure that they're a positive, part of the fabric of our community, and make sure that that they're included, that they're involved, that policies and services and goal setting that we're including to make sure that those people are still involved in the community, still engaged, and a positive part of it, and
Right,
healthy.
right. Well, you talk about the population, growing. It's really the baby boomer generation. We're talking about from the end of people born from the end of World War II to the day JFK was assassinated. And that group they're retiring at the rate of 10,000 people a day. Not all in Chelmsford, of course.
Oh, we have someone new at the senior center, a new member come in every single day. For
It
the
is
past
a huge
2.5
population.
years, we have, on average,
Right.
about 30 new members
Right.
per month.
So you talk about the, and sometimes it's talked about as a burden with the aging population, but it really is a resource of wisdom and wealth and energy. And, I look back, I got kids and grandkids, and I'm thinking, man, if I knew today what if I knew then what I know today. And it really is a great resource, and I think that this initiative is able to tap into that and take advantage of that as well.
Absolutely.
One aspect of what we're working with is volunteers. And volunteers, seniors make up a huge portion of active volunteers in most communities. For instance, at the library, we have the Friends of the Library. Vast majority of them are seniors, and we are grateful to have them, and I think that's true throughout the town.
Yeah, oh, indeed, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, this thing that we're doing is actually a worldwide thing. It's been, as you said, the World Health Organization put together these parameters. And there's really 8 different domains or 8 different sections of this age-friendly initiative.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of what those 8 are.
Between the 3 of us, we should be able to remember them all. Let's see. We've got housing, transportation, respect and social inclusion. We've got communication and information,
Health and Social Supports.
Okay.
And
How many were we at?
I should have brought the map.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
Well, they're all on the graphic.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Yes.
are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But those are the ones that are jumping up for us. I mean, public spaces and buildings.
Yes.
So we're focusing on everything from, with the planning board, we've been working with the master plan committee, and just informing them and advocating for the needs of seniors as well, so that it's one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And so, but it's a large piece. It's 30%. That's a big piece. So some things we're looking at are transportation has come up a lot because we're trying to get people to services that are already there. Housing has always been an issue, so making sure that zoning, maybe we're advocating for certain zoning options
was a
or
big-
more affordable housing or
Yeah.
emergency housing.
There was that
procedures,
zoning
so-
issue in town where we were talking about putting residences above commercial retail property. You know, and you see that in a lot of cities, a lot of fun cities like Newburyport and Portsmouth and those kind of places that have actual residential living in the cities above the commercial areas. You know, we talk about like the senior housing that we have, and it's so close to the other amenities.
Yep,
You know, like
yep.
and-
That can make a big difference in the health of someone.
Yeah.
If they're able to get out to services, access them, be active, or if they're trapped in their homes. We all know the Boston Globe had a big article about isolation and how that was such a big health risk factor.
Yeah, well, that is such a thing. You know, my wife and I say that all the time, that to us, it would be loneliness. You
Yes.
know?
Absolutely.
So profound that there's not even a word that's an antonym or the opposite of lonely. I mean, that's how profound lonely is, you know? So, and there's a lot of people suffering
gosh.
with that, yeah. Now, Jen, as we talk about that, it seems to me that there'd be the seniors, as they find out about your new role in the new office here, that they'd really be coming to you with a lot of these issues, a lot of these things.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm doing as part of this initiative that looks at addressing that piece of loneliness that you're talking about is I'm working very closely with the Housing Authority on getting an intergenerational program going within residents of the housing authorities. So what that would look like is bringing folks from the older generation together with folks from the younger generation, kids, school-age kids, and pairing them up and having them do various activities and learning activities and things like that together. And that's a way to sort of combat that loneliness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, you know, adopt a pet, adopt a grandparent, adopt a grandchild. In the schools, you know, my family is involved with the public school system. And there was that adopt a grandparent program that they had where they would go to the nursing homes and they all had a grandparent.
Yeah.
And one of the drawbacks on that, though, is that it was subjecting those 8, 9, 10-year-olds to, you know, profound illness and death
Sure.
and so forth. And it's like, you know, this one kid said, "Oh, mine died," you know, and it's like, ay, that's, you know, how do we tie that all in without it being too upsetting, you know, for the children as well? you
Yeah,
know?
well, I think one of the advantages of doing a program like this is that, you know, at times I think kids, because we don't have a lot of multi-generational families anymore, kids don't really get exposed to older generations outside of their own, like, grandparents. And so it can actually be that sort of unknown can be a little bit scary for a kid. And so a program like this, where it brings the two generations together, it starts to sort of normalize the older generation to the younger generation. And
Right.
kids start to see that, you know, older people are not just grumpy, hunched over, walking with a cane,
Right.
you know, wagging their finger at you, telling you what to do.
To get off the
and it-
lawn, right?
Right.
You know?
Private company excluded it.
And the thing is, the really great thing
horrible
is it
stigma, though.
actually works both ways, because, you know, the term ageism we always think of as applying to older folks, discrimination against older
Right.
folks. But ageism works the other way too, because you might have a younger person say to an older person, "Oh, you're too old to understand." But you often hear older people say to younger people, "You're too young to understand."
Sure.
So by connecting the two generations of people, you start to break down those barriers and you start to normalize some of what's going on, and each group gets to experience and understand the other group's perspective.
Yeah, yeah. When I was growing up, the age of grandparents wasn't as old as it is now. My oldest grandson at one time had 6 of his possible 8 great-grandparents, all still alive and thriving.
And living nearby, probably,
Exactly,
too.
yeah. And
That's the
he
thing.
knew their names, he knew them all. Great-grandparents jumping into babysitter, taking a kid to school.
Yeah.
I mean, still a lot of activity at that age where, when I was a kid, if you had 1 or 2 grandparents, you were lucky, I mean, people are, dying so much earlier. Now it really is I don't want to say it's a new thing, because nothing's really new, but it really is something that's going on now where children have multi-generational grandparents, and that's a great thing.
Well, people are living longer,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, but sometimes it means they need more resources.
Sure. Oh,
And that's
indeed.
one of the things we're trying to do through this is making people aware of the many resources we do have in Chelmsford. Deb was talking about the partnership between all the departments in town. We work through the AARP as part of the age-friendly program, and they've commented that most age-friendly initiatives do not involve as many town departments, that they tend to be volunteer-driven. And so we're fortunate to have the town on board already this
Yeah.
way in the process.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the library situation in Chelmsford, we have the 2 locations, right? The McKay and in North Chelmsford, and the Adams Library. And it's also part of the whole Merrimack Consortium, where there
That's
really
right.
is a wealth of opportunity.
That's right, 36 libraries together in one catalog. So when you go online to search the catalog for the library, you can see what we have here in town as well as what we have throughout the consortium. And we can get those materials brought to you very easily.
Yeah, and it's not just books.
No, it's DVDs, we have the thing called a Playaway, which is a specialized kind of audiobook on a small device that you can just plug your headphones right into or connect to your car. We have museum passes. We have just started a collection of games for people of all ages, keeping it age-friendly. The fancy games that you see played at the little game toy stores, and the old favorites like Sorry and Candyland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. So come on down, borrow a
I've got
game,
some-
play with your grandchildren.
I've got some Candyland champions in my house,
Yeah.
actually. Actually, they were at my house, they moved on. Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the things that we should be letting our audience know about, Deb?
So one of the, let's just say, what does an age-friendly community look like? For example, having intergenerational programming. So what happens when Jen has that after-school program at the housing is that we're helping the kids have somewhere to be that's safe, creating that environment for seniors to know that they're involved in meeting new people and understanding a little bit more about that kids these days aren't all lousy,
Yeah.
they're having a little hope in life,
Get off my lawn.
understanding. Right, like, no, and then they start to connect, they see each other at other places and go, hey, I know you. And then if there are also the parents involved, so then they're not worried about their kids after school. All of a sudden we've got some kind of relationship and oh gosh, I'm late at work. Would you be able to be there if my son needs to come home from school without
Right.
me there? So we're supporting all ages. So this is truly an all ages thing. So one of the other things we've done that we've started is we decided we wanted to do dementia friendly as well. So we want to do training for each town department to make sure that they understand the needs of someone who has dementia or other
Memory.
issues. Right on cue. So good.
Irony.
We work that out before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, laugh it up. It won't be long, guys.
So what we've done is we did a training with, it was Dementia Friends Massachusetts, and we're in touch with Alzheimer's Association, and they're supporting us, and we've had trainings. We have, I think, 20 town employees came to the first one. So now we've got at least one person in each department who's been trained to be a little bit more sensitive to the needs of someone who may be having memory issues.
So whether it's
and
the
their
police or
caregivers.
fire or what,
Yes.
yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And they can
what-
bring that back to the rest of the department, like the ones that attended from the library have gone on to teach the rest of us in the library
Yep.
the things that they learned at that program.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we're doing is also helping the caregivers and families of those people who are having difficulties.
What is it with dementia?
So-
How did this
Oh,
happen?
it's
You're not to get too far off course here, but yeah, is it? And it may be. They say about prostate cancer that if a man lives long enough, he'll die
Forget
from
it.
it. You know, it's just a thing.
Right.
And I wonder if that's like dementia. If you know, if your body keeps going, your brain's not going to be able to keep up.
Could be.
You know,
Could be part of it.
That's part, but people also don't understand that if you're showing signs of memory impairment, it's not always Alzheimer's. There are, I think we learned 400 different types of dementia.
Oh, wow.
And so it might be that you have a UTI. You should
that
go
can
to the
affect-
doctor and find out what might be an issue. You might have Lyme disease. You might have a urinary tract infection. It might be something that you could be treated for, and that if we're teaching people those things, then they're getting treatment right away. And some of these things can be turned back.
Now that is a
So that-
critically
most people
important
don't know that.
piece of information. I didn't know that at all, and that is a critical piece of information because we might just be assuming that we have something.
Yeah.
And, like that happens to me with allergies. I've never had a cold in my life, but I've had allergies all winter long. And for some reason, I just attribute it to allergies. And maybe that's what we're doing. We're attributing it to being old and some form of Alzheimer's or dementia. Like you say, it could be Lyme disease. It could be the signs of a stroke or, a stroke that we
That's
didn't
right.
realize happened.
Correct.
And those types of things.
But then if someone is suffering from Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, there are services available. I've seen so many people come into the center and say, oh my gosh, if I had only known you had a companion program here
Right.
when I was helping my mom or my dad, then that would have been such a tremendous help to us.
For everybody. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, letting people know the things that are already out there and then supporting them and expanding them as well as needed is part of this initiative.
And I think Debbie brings up a good point about screenings for various illnesses or issues that are going on, and not just related to dementia, but to other health issues. And so one of the things that we're really lucky about is that the Board of Health is working very closely with our initiative as well. And they're already running so many screenings. They run their flu clinics every year. But Carrie Sorrentino, who is the public health nurse, she runs a tremendous amount of screenings that are open to the public, cholesterol screenings, blood pressure screenings, vaccines, things like that. So that gives more access to members of the community to be able to get screenings like that, where maybe they want to avoid a copay with their physician or something like that. They can come in and do one of those screenings with the Board of Health and maybe find out that there's a potential issue and start getting treatment for it.
Yeah, well, and you're exactly right. Like, one of the things that hopefully this show and this group is able to bring forward is that, if you have somebody at home with dementia or signs of dementia, you can get them a ride through our transportation system to a place through our health system that will either screen or test or give you a vaccine or a flu shot or whatever. And all of those pieces are in place already within the town.
It's true.
And we just need to know about it. We need to work hard, as those of us that know, and you folks are doing a tremendous job, getting that information out there, that if you have a loved one that's getting older and they have some of these challenges, whether it be transportation or health or memory or loneliness or whatever, that we have the ability to intervene
Yes.
and make that better. You know, whether it be a, you know, adopt a pet program, or the, you know, transportation, that we can get them their health care, we can get them, you know, involved in the senior center where they have a companion, where they're involved in something.
Yep.
Even the lunch program at the senior center, that as busy as
Or
it
the
is.
cafe.
The cafe, right, the things that are really, they're busy, but I'll bet you the town is still sadly unaware of a lot of it, and you guys do such a great
A
job.
lot of people walk in and say, I didn't realize this place. We have a fitness center. We've got people playing chess. We've got
pool table.
pool tables. We've got, you know, and people walk in and say, oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was just old people sitting around. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and lunch
so
and the
We're
cafe.
breaking
and-
stigmas,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Exactly. One of the things is help with your taxes.
Yeah.
You know, people
Free
struggle.
help.
Free help.
Free
with your
help with your
taxes.
taxes, right?
And you've got
Come
all
on
these
out,
retired guys who used to work for the IRS, and they worked for all these great big accounting firms doing your taxes for free.
Volunteering, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, yeah.
One thing that you asked, what can people take away from this session, this discussion, is to ask. If you need something, reach out, your town departments, your town agencies, call Jen, and ask. Let us know what's missing, what's needed, and how we can get it to you.
Yeah,
That's the next step here, if I can, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
no,
the
you're-
next step in the age-friendly process here is, we know what we know, but we're now working with UMass Boston, we think. We're negotiating at this time to see if they'll come in with us and do some listening sessions. We've already tried a few, but we want to have a more extensive listening and focus group process, so we're hearing more from people.
Right.
We want to hear, what else do you feel could make Chelmsford more age-friendly? We need to hear from the folks who are going to be affected the most.
that is a perfect place to end this, Deb.
Hey,
Need to
call me,
hear. Call Deb at the senior center.
Call all of us, any
Yeah,
of us.
yeah. Vicki Turcotte, Jen Melanson, Debbie Siriani, thank you so much. This is an exciting new thing that we're doing, and we're looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to doing another show.
See you next time.
Indeed.
Thanks so much for doing
Thank
this.
you so much. Bob, Karen, thanks for your help. You talk about volunteers. We got some of the best here.
Senior
Vicki
power.
Gula, thanks so much. I'm Bill Martin. Thanks for watching.